Welcome to the Coast Podcast. I'm Emily, a virtual assistant agency owner who left Amazon in 2019 to build my dream.
And I'm Whitney, a freelance writer and communications consultant who never felt at home in a cube farm.
We wanted to learn from people who paved their own ways like we did. So we created this podcast to talk to others who were brave enough to pick a different path. Creatives, entrepreneurs, people doing their careers and their lives their way.
Join us as we make new friends, get inspired, and show you beautiful paths less traveled.
Not every road leads to the coast, but the ones that do come with a great view.
She's so creepy. She is. Oh, we're on Zoom, everybody. We've had to move to Zoom, and it's that creepy robot lady.
Recording in progress. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Coast. My name's Emily Given, and I own a virtual assistant agency in Linwood, Washington.
And I'm Whitney Popa. I own a communications consultancy in Edmonds. And today we have my friend and colleague and collaborator, conspirator.
My friend, too.
Our friend, but my friend first, Gillian Young, owner of Young Marketing LLC, which is a grassroots and social buzz agency in Edmonds. And together we are taking over the town. So this conversation has been a long time coming. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
So I have to tell like a little bit of our origin story. So, and you can go back in history as far as you want to tell everybody how you got here, because that's what we love to dig into on this podcast. But one of the things that drew us to you, so at the co-working space, which people know that I work with Workhorse, and I'm recording from my office in there right now. But we met you through the Best Western, the only hotel in town, which is down the street, and you were leading up sales and marketing and all of that. And you came to one of our events, or we encountered you somewhere. You are a person who is very hard to forget. And when you are encountered, you are discussed afterwards in this, like, did you encounter this incredible human who walks the ferry line and gives out passes to people like, oh, looks like you're gonna be here a while. Do you need a place to stay? And when the owners found out about that, they were like, we need her. And then fast forward, I was like, we'll get her eventually, we will. And then fast forward, like not even a year later, we were out to lunch, and I had been telling you, like, you know, you could start your own company, you could do really well here, like everybody needs you. And then you did. It finally got to the point where you were like, you know what, fuck yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be out on my own, and I'm going to do social media, which is not a job that I've had like before in this capacity. And I'm just going to figure it out. And that's the kind of shit that we love here. And now we have like 2 clients that we work on together, and a whole future of more. And we've been hosting workshops and everything. So it's just been so awesome to watch you, like be on the front lines of watching you start and grow your business in such a cool way.
Thank you. Well, I wouldn't have been able to do it without you. You literally gave me like the push. I was just in this, like, I don't know what I want to do. I want to do more. And yeah, I was at the hotel, which is the only hotel in town, and doing all of their Instagram. They had just no social media. So I started with their Instagram and social media, and then kind of like made this position of like grassroots, running around town, talking about the hotel, talking about like, you need to stay here. And in the end, it was just not going to ever get up to my standards. So I decided to create my own business and just do it with so many different other clients, where kind of like when they're lacking in social media and lacking like just like getting their name known in town, I have a big mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just talk to people.
And we do live in an area where like even the Workhorse owners, they keep realizing this, like that you have to be on the ground, you have to be shaking hands, you have to know people in order to move things forward. Like even if you are managing somebody's social media, that like in person, like shaking hands, looking people in the eye, that's why against everybody's advice, I started working with Workhorse because they didn't pay me anything in the beginning. And everybody was like, why would you like sacrifice your rate or whatever to work with these people? I'm like, I want something more to talk about in town than just that I'm a mom with kids here, because everybody has kids here and I'm just sitting, with my stroller. I'm not going to like make friends that way. But if I can go into other businesses and talk about Workforce and also use that to build my business, then it's like super helpful. And the double dipping and all of the things that we do in town with our clients is super encouraged here, which is way different than any corporate job, obviously, that any of us have ever had. So being able to like be ourselves and be in town and shake hands has been incredible. And I love that the grassroots part is an element of your business because they are so intertwined.
Well, I can never just be behind like a computer. Like, it's
Right.
just like so not me. Like, I have to be like, it fills my bucket to be around people, and like I feed off of other people's energy, and I just like love talking and meeting new people. And so having it like together, I think puts me in a really unique position, especially like with some of my clients, like the city, where it's like, you can have these like really fancy marketing companies that are in a different state with a robot doing, 365 days, just like automatically with a push of a button. Or you can have someone like me who like, I live here, I work here, I don't leave a 3-mile radius. Like, I am so in tune with everything that's happening in our community. And then also putting me on the other side of it with the social media, it just gives me kind of like a better view of everything, because I can be up to date and current, and people also follow me because they know I'm doing it, and they're like, oh, where's she going next? So
everything, like everything that's
thanks.
happening. It's, oh, thank you. No,
Yeah.
I run into everywhere. Like, I'm running into Benbera, I'm running into Workforce, I'm running into, like, you encouraged me to join the chamber because
Yes.
I don't even live in Edmonds yet. I mean, I live in Edmonds eventually. How am I supposed to say this? I don't remember. But
Well, I live in Edwood, which I'm west of the 99. So I feel like anything west of the 99 is considered Edmonds.
yeah, why not? But I reached out for video footage of like Edmonds, our town, and you're like, what about this? You sent me like 75 things. I'm like, Gillian, like, she's just so good at documenting like what's happening in town, getting people involved. And I just admire that about you. I consider myself, well, I don't know anymore. I used to consider myself a super extrovert. Like, I talk to anybody, but like I get really drained. And I think what I am now is like a extroverted introvert. I'm not sure. Let's not label it. I'm just me. But like, I
Just like anything, you're on a spectrum.
Yeah, I admire that about you though. You're just like able to like go connect with people, and I am too, but I'm becoming quite calculated about it. Like, where am I?
Well, Gillian is also my best friend's sister, who's an educator, calls it OTM, on the mind, out the mouth. So
yes.
That is Gillian, like completely unfiltered. And that's why like our workshops have been so fun, because it's just like, no, you're doing that wrong. Or you're thinking about this incorrectly. Like, you need to be doing this. And that's really refreshing, especially on the West Coast, where people just don't, like you said,
You're
you're
polite.
calculating
it's like at the stop signs. Everyone's like, no, you go. No, you go. It's like, no, I'm going to fucking go.
I love
But I think that also it has to do with the fact I have dyslexia, and I also have ADHD, like very severe ADHD. And so like I have to like constantly be stimulated. Like, if I'm not being stimulated, like I just get bored and I walk away. Like, and it's so rude. But like I just don't know how to like handle like low stimulation, I guess. And so having like, especially Instagram, where there's so many algorithms and all of them are changing all the time, and there's so many different, new trends and new this, it's like, it's keeping me so energized about Instagram. And then pairing it with the fact that I can like be on the ground, and like, if you want me to talk about your business, you send me out in the town and I will make sure every single person knows about it. And then we'll follow through with an Instagram account, so now everybody can follow you. So having that like both sides of it has just been so perfect for me. I've never really found a position or a job that like kind of hit all of my boxes. And like, this is just like making me feel so fulfilled. And like, I know you said, Emily, like sometimes it drains you after being so extroverted. It's like, I'm like the opposite. Like, I get home and I'm like so excited. I'm just like, oh my God, I met all these people and it was so much fun. And it's just like, now I want to like clean my house and like, cause I have all this like energy. And then if like I miss a day, like going into town for even a coffee or something, it like depletes me. Like, I'm just like, okay, now I'm depressed and now I can't leave my house. Like, so it's kind of like trying to find that balance of like being able to do the business side of stuff and like be on my computer and trying to like figure out taxes and all of the other things. And then also making sure that I'm keeping up with everything and keeping my face in town. That's like half my business, is just making sure everyone knows I'm bopping around all the time.
And what we want to know too, what we already know and what our audience doesn't, is how you got here. So you have this career that like started in real estate, question mark?
Yeah, so I did. I started in real estate in San Diego and did that for like almost like 8 years. And I had a huge following on Facebook and meetup.com. I had a lot of different events that we were doing. And then Pinterest, I like had 100,000 followers on Pinterest. I actually had 2 deals closed from Pinterest, which is really weird. But yeah, I figured that out. And with real estate, I really sold myself. Like, I was my brand and I was having to do that. I would door knock. I would go to, farmers markets and just introduce myself to people. And, that's just how you have to do it with real estate. And then we moved for my husband's job, and after he finished grad school and everything, we moved up to Sacramento area. And up there, I didn't want to start over because starting in real estate is so expensive. I didn't know anyone up there. It would have been a lot to restart. So I ended up working for a paint company for Sherwin-Williams, and I did sales and marketing and sold more credit cards and more lines of credit than the entire district. So just selling a different type of scenario, not a home, not me, but like a product. So then when we moved up here, I was really looking to stay close to home. I don't like commuting. And they called me for this job, and I was just like, I don't even know, like, ew, Best Western, like, I don't even stay there, but it's a plus. And so I feel like that's a little bit better. So I don't know. And so then I was like, no. And then they kept calling, and I was like, okay, I'll go and see. So I was like, okay, it has potential. Like, maybe I could make this like JCPenney's vibe Gucci, but no. So then I was just like struggling because I was like, how am I going to sell something that's just like not for me? And in the meantime, in that year, I had grown their Instagram and Facebook and everything, where they had 0 social media presence to, 1,500 followers and engagement, and people are actually booking through Best Western from Instagram. So we had the highest conversion for that. And Best Western Corporate called and wanted to give me an award. And it was the only like off platform or off like Best Western website that got so many reservations booked through. So having that like was pretty big. And like, so after that, I was just like, ew, can't work here anymore. Not for me. I'm going to start my own business. And everyone in town was like, hey, we'll pay you to do that for us. And well, first I met with Whitney, and Whitney was like, you can like just do this on your own. I was like, huh, okay. And then Ryan with the Chamber of Commerce, who I went to high school with, he was like my biggest supporter. If it wasn't for him, I don't know what I would be doing now. But immediately he was like, you know what? Like, we need social media. And I just met with him to be like, what am I going to do? And who's hiring in town kind of thing. And he was like, I'll be your first client. And that just like took off. And with him and me both starting around the same time and like changing the whole vibe of the Chamber of Commerce in Edmonds was like so cool. And now we have Caitlin on board, which is like, she's also new. And the ladies that were there, they're amazing. But it's just like this whole shift. And we're all a little bit younger and more up to date with what's going on in the world and what's going on in Edmonds. So pairing his new leadership with social media and somebody in town that was like, I'm representing the chamber, like, come be a member. It benefited everyone, and they gave me my big break. So I'm definitely, shout out to Ryan.
Okay, but was Workforce number 2 then?
So
I want to be
yes.
in your top, like MySpace, like top 6?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Top 8.
Top 8. Well, I want to be top
Yeah.
2.
No,
It
workforce is
matters how it's
immediately.
arranged.
Well, and I just didn't even know I needed to like get a business, like how to like set up an LLC or anything. So then when Ryan told me like, you should do this, I was like, okay. And then you were my next phone call and I was like, okay, I'm like doing it. And you're like, okay, send me a proposal. I was like, I don't even know what that means. Like, you're like, okay, go to this website and sign up. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like trying to figure out what I even just like put in a contract and my ADHD and dyslexia are so bad. I'm like, rereading everything, and you were huge help. I remember I was at Nordstrom's in the parking lot and I was like on the phone with you and you were like, just send it to us. Like, we don't care. Like, we just
Yeah, they're
want
not going to
you
read it anyway. Yeah.
before you take somebody else. It's like, okay.
Well, and this is like further reinforcement of maybe Emily had a little bit more of a plan, but like for a lot of people like us, or like I don't have dyslexia or ADHD to my knowledge, but I would not have done my business if I needed to have a plan. Like my husband always, that's like such old school thinking to me of like, write your business plan and then maybe somebody else will give you approval to do it. No, like I have to just go do it. Or if I hadn't had clients lined up, I wouldn't have ever done it because I don't know how. Like I'm not going to go research how to start a business. I have to be forced into it to start my business and then I'll figure it out.
Well, and that's the cool thing about Edmonds is like, we have so many friends, like, you know what I mean? Like now, especially it's like, who can I help? Because like Whitney helped me, like Ryan helped me, like Erica helped me, like all these people who just like rally around you and they're like, hey, this didn't work out. Like you need to just do this, like go now. Like I had more clients like ready to go, like before I even got an LLC. Like I was like, I'm rushing this through just so I can, start working, I guess. So I think that if I hadn't been forced into that position, I don't know what I would be doing. I have no idea. But seriously, you don't need to do a business plan and everything. Sometimes you have to just like let the universe like guide you.
And I almost hear that too in like your history too, where you're like, I just finished Heather's Bad Mormon book, and she's like the same, where she was like entrepreneur of the year in college. She started all of these businesses and every single one took off. Like she made fishhook earrings in college that were sold at Nordstrom. And then she was like #1 salesperson for something else, very similar to you energy wise. The reason that she like has Beauty Lab is she started working for this aesthetics guy or plastic surgeon because they have a bazillion in Utah. And then and then he was like, can I just sell this to you? Like, I'm trying to go off and do like just boobs or something. So like, do you want this skin business? And the reason Beauty Lab works so well is she and her business partner sat down and they were like, there's no transparency here. People they don't like, it's such a vulnerable place. Like when you're getting Botox or whatever, you just want to know what it costs and you want it to be, especially in Utah, like you want to look great, you want it to be inexpensive, and you want it to be efficient because you have 700 kids. So they made like, this is our pricing, which most places don't have. Like it costs you $100 to get this level of Botox, and we have 15-minute Botox parking. You can pay up front or whatever. And nowhere else in the Valley had anything like that because of some FDA regulations or whatever. I don't know how they got through it, but that's what differentiated her. And every single business is like that, where she's sitting down and like, oh, I just like see this gap here and I'm able to fill it. And whatever she touches turns to gold, like every single time. And out of all of the things that I learned in that book, because I'm always trying to learn more about Mormons, that was probably the coolest thing, because she's always been such a businesswoman, but she wanted to be the perfect wife. So she like would do these things and then run away from them. And then she was like, when she got her divorce, she was like, okay, let's go. And actually,
that's like, I'm totally like that too. Like, but not because of being married, just because I get bored or we moved or whatever. And that's like one thing I'm super grateful for. My husband just is like, do you? Yeah. Like, this is our next adventure. You're going to be whatever you want to be.
And you make decisions and you move quickly, which is a huge thing in business, in success, like not overthinking it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, definitely. And, that's like, one of the only compliments my sister-in-law has ever given me was that I can sell like literally anything. Like she's like, this is ridiculous. Like, why aren't you selling Mary Kay? Because like in a month you would be driving around in a pink Cadillac.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, you didn't consider medical devices?
Right. Seriously. I don't know. I just, even when I was like, my mom always tells the story when I was like 16, I was working at the mall and I was working actually at the Eddie Bauer coffee shop in Redmond Town Center. And out of the coffee shop for all of the Eddie Bauer store, I had the most credit apps for any employee for the entire summer. And it was like by like 50. And so people were like, how are you getting people to sign up for a credit card to save 20% on a $2 lot, like $2 coffee? I'm like, I don't know. They just talk them into it. Like, who doesn't like to save money? Like, I was like, oh, you're too rich to save money. Okay. And then they sign up. Everyone loves to save money. So I don't know. I think that anything that I like am passionate about, I just work so hard and I've always had to work harder, I feel like, than other people in a lot of ways, just because like with dyslexia, like being diagnosed in I think it was fourth grade. It was just like, I've always had to like read things more, like 10 times more, and not be able to just understand what I'm reading quickly. So having to do that. And then also just like not having the attention span with ADHD, I've always had to just work a little harder. So with sales, it's like, I can just rely on my personality and just like really, it's almost like a game in my head. Like how many people are going to sell or going to buy what I'm selling or sign up for what, I'm offering. And yeah, I just work really, really hard because when I'm passionate about something, I just go gung ho. But then as soon as I'm like bored about it, I'm like, nah, moving on to the next thing. So that's why, like I said, this is like the perfect mix for me because I'm constantly stimulated. Like there's always something in town. There's always a new person to meet. There's always a new activity. There's always a new trend. There's always a new algorithm. So it's just keeping me so like ready to go and ready to learn and know more people and grow all of these Instagram accounts bigger and better. And yeah, it's so fun. Am I just rambling? I'm sorry.
No, I wanted to give Emily an opportunity to ask any questions.
Michael was like, you talk so much. You have to make sure, try and like not cut people off and not interrupt. Cause that's a big thing. I always do that. And it's not cause I don't care or love you when you're talking to me or not interested. It's just my brain just goes so fast.
I can be the same. I can be the same way for sure. Like you were saying earlier that you like, just if you get bored, you just walk away. I need to start walking away because I just glaze over like a donut and I like mentally and like dissociate. I'm like,
oh my God. So Whitney can tell you at Workhorse, like a couple weeks ago, I just been like Gretchen with secrets out of my hair, I shouldn't say names and things. Okay. So anyways, there was this situation, we won't say timeline. And I like walked in and I was just like, the vibe is so off. I can't be here. I'm leaving. And I just like left. I just can't fake it. Unfortunately.
It'll make you feel better though. Like we are conditioned out of doing that because we want to be nice. And it's not the wrong move. Like I've been listening to these Abraham YouTube things in the morning to get like kind of in the zone. And they're like this ancient teacher who is channeled through this woman, Esther Hicks, and they've written a ton of books and everything, but it's like this spiritual guide person. And they go on what they call rampages. And one of the rampages that I was listening to was all about that, even like with the news of, if it doesn't make you feel good, you don't have to remain in it.
Right.
Even like families, when you're all kind of in each other's energy and you're bickering, it's best if you all just go into your respective rooms, like get back into your right energy and then come together again. It's not bad to remove yourself. It's actually good to be selfish in that way. And you should be. And we're all kind of conditioned out of our own feelings of discomfort. Like this isn't right for me right now. And what am I staying for? Because I'm shooting myself into it. Like I should be here. I left that same thing because I was like, no, I can't. And so I'm leaving.
Well, it's kind of like how we're conditioned to like, I don't know, tried really hard to stop saying I'm sorry when I'm like in a store and I like bump into, or not even bump, like, I'll just be like walking past someone and like too close or something and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, why am I conditioned to say that? Like, as a woman, just like take up space. Like, so I'm supposed to apologize. Like, no, like, so it's really interesting when you start trying to think about things like that make you uncomfortable or you're apologizing for. It's like, just don't do that. Like you're allowed to be whoever you want.
Mm-hmm. I even told my mom that last night. It was her birthday and we were out for dinner and she said something and I told her, you're allowed to take up space. And she like paused for a second and she was like, thank you. Yes, I am. And I was like, fuck yeah, you are. Take up your space,
Yes.
girlfriend.
There's a
So she
song,
did.
Take Up Space, Sis, I think. That's what she said.
Ooh,
I'll send it to you. We'll link it in the show notes.
yeah.
I don't know, Gillian, I just love you. Like, I feel like you're so authentic. You like say what's on your mind. There's a lot to be admired about you.
Yes.
Aw,
And
yeah.
I would like to dig into that a little bit. Like, have you ever been, I know you have in town and we don't need to get into that, but have you ever been like bullied for being so true to yourself? Because so many people are not.
Oh my God, no, I've never been bullied. Never at all, actually.
Good.
I like love everyone and everyone usually loves me. But there's been like, I don't know.
But here in
Well,
town, it was a hard start for you though. Like when you started
yes,
your
I was
business,
gonna say there's
because
one situation when I got here and people just didn't know who I am. And I am just very aggressive and loud and I might not be for everybody, but if you're on my good side, like I will do anything and everything to say your name in places where people need to hear it and help you grow just like other people helped me. So I'm like a really loyal and good person to have on your side. So I just didn't understand. I came into town and it was just like I got these opportunities. I started my business and immediately there was some people in town that just like wanted to like shoot me down. I was just like, who do you think you are? Why are you doing this? And I think it's kind of maybe that since they're like a little like older, they have this like older mentality of like not everyone can be here. And I'm only shooting for us all to be successful. Like there's so much room for everyone. Edmonds is a small town, but it is not really. It is the third largest city in Snohomish County. There's more people in Edmonds than there is in Linwood. Like, I mean, it's bigger than you expect. So there's enough business, there's enough people, and those people with that mentality, hopefully we're weaning them out and they're leaving because it's just not helpful. And with Workhorse, especially, it's such a great environment because everybody with different types of businesses, different styles of communication, with all those things, it's just this entrepreneur's hub where I have resources. Like if I'm struggling with something, I can go there and just talk to my friends, like literally just go hang out with my friends and get good advice and be like, who do you know that I can hire to do this? Or who do you know that needs this? And having those people that are in town that originally were just really aggressive and rude, it's like, who's laughing now, bitch? I'm laughing all the way to the bank. And you guys can get the hell out because you're old and stale and you're going to be out soon enough. So either make it pleasurable for yourself and be nice. Like my daddy always says, he's like, you catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar. So I try and be really nice, but don't cross me. Like, I'm not weak. Like, so I think maybe that's why I haven't been like super bullied ever, is because I fight back. I speak my mind and you'll know when I'm mad and you don't want to piss me off.
well, that's the thing too. Like, I think people aren't used to, like in town here, people aren't used to your level of like confidence walking into a room, which is actually really tragic, like for society. If you think about that, like all these women being afraid of a woman who's just very bold in what she has to offer. And I loved it the second I experienced it. And I would think that like I have more maybe a quiet, dry confidence. So I come off a little bit I don't know.
You're
Just,
like
like
the
I would,
like the resting bitch face,
yeah,
confident. Like, I know I'm cool.
yeah. I think
I'm
like
like
I
in your
always,
face, like, I'm so cool.
I get all this like feedback of people like who I thought like you, for example, if I had known you in middle school and you were out there like meeting everyone and being everyone's friend, and then when we would become friends at that age, I would be like, oh my gosh, she's so popular and cool. And I'm so excited she picked me. And then the feedback that I get back, which I just got from my best friend from middle school, even her mom said to me, like, we were always so glad that you picked us because you seem really picky. And we thought you were so cool. And I'm like, I was like, you were the one out there being popular. And I'm the one who's
Oh,
like sitting here reading my books. Like, I know I'm cool. I get my nails done and all of that. But I'm here with my books and my cat, like not trying to be bothered. So it's interesting, like everybody's perspective around like who's cool and how you lead. And it's a very interesting ecosystem in this town. But like what I know too is like, you know, people, they don't understand like somebody coming in being super confident and upfront, but like what you can tell from the very beginning of knowing you is like you are just so authentic. Like it's not a front, it's not like a show. It's this is who Gillian is, and she's going to get shit done for you. Like
Yeah.
that's your company motto. Gets shit done in town
yeah.
and around, like everywhere, you know, like. And that's what Larry says every time he talks about you. Like she just shows up, she gets it done. She says she's going to, and she does.
I love that.
Yeah. I definitely think it's hard to like, I mean, I just like, I can't really like hide who I am, I guess. And so I'm like, you know what? I might as well just embrace it. Like I'm a little crazy. I'm a little loud. I'm sometimes kind of rude, but like, I don't mean to be. I really think like too, like deep down, like all my intentions are always good. Like I'm not trying to ever step on someone else's business or their feet or whatever. And so that's why when I was like met with this weird hostility in town, it was just like, you don't want business? Like, I don't get it. Like, you don't want me to support you? Like, okay, like that's weird. Like, it just doesn't make any sense as a business owner. Like, I would never be like, oh, I don't want to be promoted by you. Like,
Mhm.
it's just odd.
I
So I
think
don't know.
that,
I think we're weeding out that type of mentality though. And I think that this new wave is so good. And we're all just like, especially after COVID, like people went through a lot of stuff and like people's jobs changed and they had to, completely redo their like life. And so why aren't we all supporting each other? We all made it through really shitty times.
Yep.
Like if you can lift somebody else up, lift them up. Like don't
Mhm.
bring them down. That's so horrible.
What I see too is like the exercise for you in all of this is, and something, and maybe I'm projecting because it's something that I'm doing in my own life too, of like what's theirs and what's mine.
To carry, right? Like
Mhm.
that's their negative. That's their
Well, exactly.
scarcity
And I think I
mindset,
taught
right?
that.
Like this town ain't big enough for the two of us, like old
Mhm.
Western, like, but it is. But it
Right.
absolutely is.
Well, and that's like what Whitney always says. She's like really taught me to like be like, okay, but what is it that they like, what are they going through? Like, like think of it. I just don't think that hard about things.
Mhm.
I'm more like, like whatever. I show you who I am immediately. So if somebody else is struggling with something or had a bad experience with somebody coming to promote their store before, okay, just tell me that. Like it's
Yeah.
easy to communicate. So I do have to kind of take a step back sometimes. And Whitney's been really good about being like, well, you know what? Like, that's their problem. Like, their problem is like they're not accepting your help, or that the problem is that they don't know how to communicate. It's not on me to keep going back to that person and be like, why don't you want my business? Like, guess what? I have a wait list for business. So screw you. Now you don't get my help.
Right. And that's like, it was rough to like witness that, but now seeing how it's fueled you and kind of informed things for you. And I think that's been really a powerful output of it. Like I
Totally.
would
Well,
never want it for anybody.
Well, I think it's because I had like rose colored glasses, when I came to this town. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I've been in California for 10 years. I finally come home and it's like I'm running into my friends from high school and, all this stuff. And I'm so connected here. And then immediately to get this like kind of like, oh no, hesitation. I was just like, weird. Okay. And then you start seeing, oh, this is a little like old lady gang. And now I know who's in it and I'm not stupid. So I'll pretend to be stupid and, oh yeah, like whatever. But I see you. I see what you're doing and I see who's involved. And it's really that weird small town mentality in a not really small town where they all just have these little groups and they team up and it's just weird. It's weird. And so at least I see it now and I didn't go anywhere. It wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Well, now everybody kind of understands each other and it's been really positive overall.
Well,
you're
yeah,
able
except
to
for
move
a few
forward.
people in town that will remain nameless.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, seriously, like everybody else has kind of come around. It's like, if you just sat down with me, I think you'd realize like my intentions are pure. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or businesses or anything. Like maybe you don't get who I am because I am kind of aggressive and loud and I'm Sicilian and I just say things like, and if I offend someone, I'm so sorry because I really don't mean to. But all you have to do is have a conversation with me and sit down with me and you'd realize that.
And again, like if you're so easily offended, I mean, God, just sit
That's
with
on
my
them.
family for like 5 minutes and you will decide what it's worth to you to be so easily offended. Shit. Like if I was sitting around being offended by every person who walked in the door, then I would do some self-reflection. It becomes that thing of like, if the student keeps failing, who is it? Whose fault is it? It becomes the teacher's fault. You were not sitting around here just being like, who wants to just be so special that they can spend their life being offended? It's just boring.
It is. I know. Well, and I also like don't hold on to things for very long. Like it's very like, okay, moved on. Like my poor husband, like if I like am mean or something, he's like, like sad and stuff. And like, I just like don't know how to deal with people's feelings. Like, I think like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to, like, let's move on. And it's like, I have to be careful because I know that like, people have feelings and they're not all like me. But again, it's like on you, figure out how to deal with your own feelings because I might not be so sensitive to them.
Yeah. Well, and also it's not yours. So
Right.
What's his reaction to your business? Is he like, this is where you were always meant to be as far as like running your own stuff?
Like, holy shit, you're such a badass. Like, so excited. He wants to get a drone so he can learn how to fly because he's off for the summers because he works for the school district. So he is wanting to like get a drone for me. If you go on Visit Edmonds, there's some of his photos because he'll go out on the kayak and Whitney was like, how are we getting these photos in the middle of the
I was like,
water?
Gillian is not in the kayak.
I'm swimming. No. So yeah, he will take some of my photos for me and he's like so sweet. Like he is so excited that I found something I'm super passionate about and it actually is successful with. So he like one time, like a long time ago, I had my CNA license when I was in college. So I was like a nurse's assistant. I've done a lot of things. I got a bartending certificate. I've done a lot of things. And one time we were just like sitting out on the deck and I was like, maybe I want to be like a elementary school art teacher. And he's like, you hate kids, first of all. And like, when have you ever done art? Like, what are you talking about? I was like, I don't know. He's like, you really need to rein it in. Like, try and find something that you like really are passionate about that will keep your interest for more than 5 minutes. I'm like, okay. And so I kind of always kept that in the back of my head, like, okay, don't go after these like stupid, weird, crazy things. Like maybe hyper focus, since I hyper focus on a lot of things, hyper focus on something that I love and it's making me money and it's going to help my family. It's going to help, build this kind of empire that hopefully I'm going in the right direction. So he's very proud. He's very excited and happy and he has summers off to help me.
I love the drone thing. Weren't you a CNA, Emily? It wasn't, or medical assistant?
I was a medical assistant, yeah, for like 5 years.
Well, I did it in California or in Florida when I was in college and down there because that's like the only jobs. So they were like, it was like a weekend class to get a CNA license. They're like, wash your hands and sing happy birthday. And it's like, take care of people. And then they're like, oh, you want to give out meds? Sure. Here's a med pass. Here's a full lobotomy thing. So when I came to California, they're like, how do you have all this stuff? You've never taken like a class. I was like, I don't know. It's a free for all down there in Florida.
Still true. Still true.
Seriously. Oh, they can just stink. Florida can just stink.
Except for my family in Florida. Please stay safe.
I have family in Florida too. It's just not my favorite place.
I've never been there.
Well,
I'm scared of gators.
go to Destin. Destin's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, Destin's nice. I just went to
And
school there, so I
Miami.
was there for too long. Ew, I hate Miami.
Disney World. What?
Miami's
It's pretty.
oh my God, it was horrible. We went for my brother and sister-in-law's wedding. And so it was so bad. It was just like there was so many people driving on the sidewalks. Like maybe it was our fault for renting a car. I think that's why we were traumatized. But my mother-in-law and me and my other sister-in-law were in the we were literally screaming and crying, and I mean it was traumatic. These people are cutting us off on the sides of the sidewalk and flipping us off and screaming at us. It was just horrible.
No, you gotta just rent a bougie hotel,
Fly to the airport,
yeah,
do the Uber.
Oh, and the airport had no air
for the whole
conditioning,
weekend.
and we were so hungover the next morning after the wedding. We were so hungover, and we're trying to get through the airport, and there's this huge long line and no air conditioning. We almost missed our flight. It was so
too
horrible.
much fried food in Florida, though. I will give you that. The food is pretty bad.
I like Tampa. The west coast of Florida
eat
is totally different. They fry gator.
Yeah, nothing's off.
So they're used to. So in college, there's this bars, and you go to the bar, and it's called Sink or Swim, and you get a cup. You just bring your cup from Chick-fil-A or whatever, and you go into the bar, and it's sink or swim. So you just keep filling it up all night long, or you sink. And then they do this alligator hump where they're like, okay,
did you say hump?
Yes, the alligator hump. So they're like, okay, alligator hump time, and everybody goes to the sides of the dance floor, and then the men, the guys, take their hats off and throw it into the middle of the ring, and then hop on top of it, and then hump their hat until it gets between their ankles, and then they can put it back up on their head. And then you win something, like a Jello shot.
Yeah, whatever floats your boat, man.
I thought they were humping a real alligator, and I was
No, it's just called the alligator hump.
so confused. I'm really glad for their safety that is not the case.
Right. Who knows though? Some of those places, they might have one in the back somewhere.
Ew.
Someone
I would not be
walking in with a
surprised.
leash. I wouldn't either.
Anything's possible, especially there. We
for real.
have rapid fires that are not so rapid. Emily, do you have them pulled up, or do you want me to ask
Oh,
them?
God. Oh my God, this is Andy Cohen.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
just
hold on.
preppy. I told Michael yesterday, I was
Let
like,
me
this
pull
is
them
my
up.
first podcast because I'm
It
prepping
is?
myself for a life on Bravo. Yes,
Oh,
this is my
yes.
first podcast. It's checking my bucket list.
Whitney loves Bravo.
I do.
Me too. I'm going to BravoCon.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Where have you been?
I don't Bravo at all. I actually quite hate reality TV, which is funny because I've now been on a reality TV show. So,
Very interesting. Meanwhile, I'm in the middle of Perfect Match on Netflix, which is probably as low as you can go. It's all these people who have been on other Netflix shows, half of which I haven't heard of, which is wild to think of. 20 somethings Austin, never heard of it.
No. Do you remember the Bad
Tampa.
Girls Club?
I didn't watch that, but yes.
Oh, that
It's
was
still
crazy. Yeah, is it? My sister-in-law,
Yeah, VH1, I think.
sister-in-law and I used to watch that, and it was ratchet. It was crazy.
I think that's where who is it? The rapper, not Megan Thee Stallion, but Cardi B.
Oh, is that where she's
Or
from?
Nicki?
Oh my God.
Yeah, one of them was on there. I think it's Cardi B was on Bad Girls Club.
Okay, see.
was she really? Is that how she got famous?
Yeah, you got to look it up. It's one of them.
That's crazy.
Okay, I am having trouble. It's saying something about my cookies on this thing. Hold on.
Cookies. Oh, I thought you were like, you're going to ask me like, what cookies do I bake?
You know,
I'm like, none, bitch.
The one
trying
that I would die to go to is if like MTV had an MTV con.
Oh my God, fun.
Oh, yeah. Did you see there's a new
And I
season of
got
the
to meet-
Teen Mom?
I was going to say if I got to meet all my teen moms and if I got to meet Carson Daly
Oh my God, yeah.
and well, Carson's kind of like, I would still fangirl. Like he's not as exciting as he used to be, you know?
I mean,
But
TRL was like our childhood.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
I mean,
didn't
I'll
he do
introduce you to Wes
hair?
too. 'Cause he'd
Wes
be
would be
there.
exciting. There's like some OG
yeah.
guys from the challenge who got kicked off, I think because they said something like racist on Twitter or something. I can't remember what they did. But like Evan and I called him Kevin. Evan and this guy whose name started with a K. Love them. Oh my God. I went
I
into
really
labor.
liked the one at the Palms. Every time when I first started going to Vegas, because when we were in California, we go to Vegas all the time. It was only, 3 or 4 hours. But when I first went, I was like, Michael, I want to stay at the Palms. And he was like, ew, that's like
Oh,
so
the
far.
real world. Yeah.
I was like, I don't care. I'm staying where real world was.
Yeah. And they were always in that rooftop club there.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember those not characters, the people who are on that season.
Because
Yeah,
it was real life. It was
Yeah.
real life.
totally.
Have you heard Kristen's new podcast or whatever, where they like go through like oh no, it wasn't Kristen. It was
Back to the
did you
beach.
watch? Yes, but did you see 90210? Did you ever watch Beverly Hills 90210, the original?
Not the original. I
Oh
watched.
my God, I did. I hid in my bedroom with this like little black and white TV under my blanket and I would watch it. But Jenny Garth and Tori Spelling have a new podcast and they rewatch all the episodes and go through like what was happening, who was having sex with who was
Ooh.
doing what, where, and like all the deets on every single episode.
Tori Spelling's face is a little too frightening for me.
Yeah, I read her book though. I really liked her book. It was a while ago. But it was really interesting about her relationship with her dad and her mom.
And they're like house that takes up the entire block or whatever.
Wow, seriously. Well, in their craft room, like I would love a wrapping paper room. Like Candy
Yes.
Spelling, like you've made it. Like if you have a wrapping paper room, you've made it.
Yes, actually, that is something I talk about with Roz in my craft room. Do you need me to read them, Emily?
Yeah. I got them pulled up. No, I got them pulled up. I'm ready.
Sorry, we're just going on and on and on.
No, but
it's okay.
when we moved to our house in Edmonds, I didn't know I was pregnant and I thought I was going to have an extra room and I was going to have a yoga room and a craft room. Like I majorly arrived. And then yesterday, Oliver was telling me, because our house on the other side of the mountains, they each have twin beds there and they both have double beds at home. And he was like, I love Waterville, but I really love my bed in Edmonds because it's for 2 people. And I was like, if that's the case, do you want to have another person in your bed? Maybe like Bianca moves into your room and I can have my yoga room. He was like, absolutely not. He's 6.
Oh my God. It's adorable.
Yeah, he's not interested. He just wants this space, which like more power to him. My little Taurus luxury babies.
Oh,
We're ready?
Are we ready?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Jillian, these are
Yes.
rapid fire, which I feel like you'll actually be really good at.
Yeah.
Like better than most people. Okay. What are you proudest of in your business right now?
I think the amount of clients I have, I think that I kind of made it. Like I thought for sure it would take a really long time to build up a big like client roster. And I think like right now I'm almost kind of full. And so I think that that's really amazing since I'm not even at my 1 year mark.
Yeah.
That is so amazing.
And most people don't make it a year.
And yeah, I'm like in the green now at, it's been in October, it'll be a whole year.
That's so exciting. What's your anniversary date?
Of my business?
Yeah.
It's like October 3rd, I think is when I filed my LLC. My birthday's the 7th. I'm a Libra.
That's Mean Girls Day.
I know.
That's amazing.
You have to wear pink or army pants and flip-flops.
I can't wait for our thing.
Or a
Oh my gosh,
vest.
it's gonna be so
I
fun.
can't wait to watch it at the theater.
Tell us about a book you read or a podcast you listened to that recently changed the way you're thinking about your life or your business.
Oh my God, girl, I don't read very much. And if I do,
You
it's
just
like
told me about a book you just said you read, but
yeah,
podcast
like I
too.
read like books about like celebrities.
Right. Those change your life. I just told you about Heather. She changed my
That's true.
life.
That's true. I don't know. I really like Padma's book. I was almost done with it for a really long time, and then I forgot about it, and then I started reading it again, and I really liked her book. And she has done so many different things, and I feel like I kind of get that with her, where she's like, I don't want to be just a mom. I don't want to be just a wife. I don't want to be just a model. I want to be like all these things. Because like I feel like that. I didn't take Michael's last name. I don't want to be anybody's property. I just want to be me. And I don't want to
Love
be,
that.
I just am who I am. And I think I can be good at a lot of things. Like people are like, oh, you don't have like a career and like a longevity. Like what's in your next 10 years? I'm like, I don't know. I could be just doing something totally different in 10 years. But for
Yeah.
right now, like I love my life.
Yeah. And fuck those people. So, do you want to be them anyway? Like, do you
No.
need to listen to their advice? No. And also, two things on Padma. Did you know that she just announced that she's not returning to Top Chef?
Yes, I
This was
did.
her
I
last
watched the last
season.
episode. I know.
And when she started Taste the Nation, Roz and I were like, ooh, Padma's like a perv. We were into it.
Yes, I gotta love
She's
it.
always making a sexual innuendo.
Oh yeah. Well, and if you watch Top Chef, she says some like really kind of outlandish things, like so like low key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love her.
I need to clearly watch this. So.
Did she ever? She didn't say in her book who her baby daddy is, did she?
Yeah, I think it goes into it. And now I have to remember, I don't retain things I read very well.
That's okay.
But she's like
I was
super
in it for the moment.
protective.
I have yeah, it does go into it actually. Well, and she was married to him,
Oh god.
right? Is that the same person?
Maybe
'Cause
somebody else that I was like that who wouldn't tell me who was the father of their child.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
Mindy
it's-
Kaling.
Oh,
Oh, she didn't. Oh, I didn't know that was a scandal. But anyway,
Yeah.
What would your last meal be?
oh my gosh, like prime rib and
Yeah.
a twice baked potato and a Caesar salad. And I think some sort of like chocolate, like mousse cake. Okay. So there used to be this place called Milestones in Totem Lake when I was a kid. And it had like the best cake. It was like this, it wasn't cake. It was like a chocolate ganache torte.
Yum.
And if I could have that again, I would. So yeah. With lots of horseradish sauce, because I love horseradish. I love sauce. I'm just a sauce whore.
That's where
I'm
we
a
have to
sauce
fight.
whore too.
I'm a
love
sauce
it.
whore, but I draw the line.
I don't
at
like horseradish either. Maybe
Oh,
like
I love
mild.
horseradish. Do you like
Same thing.
Yum Yum sauce at like Benihana's?
Yes.
I found it at the grocery store at QFC down the street from my house, and I bought all of them.
Of course.
I love Yum Yum sauce. It's yum yum.
I bought all of them. I love you so much.
My mom always taught me, if you like something, buy it in every color or buy all of them.
What's the best business purchase you've made in the last 6 months under $100?
The last business purchase that I've made under $100, probably I would say this new tripod I got. It's like an octopus tripod. And so I can so when we did the workhorse float on July 4th, I had it wrapped around the leg of the desk, and like the legs literally just wrap around anywhere,
cool.
anything. Yeah. And so I wrapped around the legs, and I had 2 phones, and my other phone, I recorded the entire parade at the viewpoint of the float, looking at the crowd.
That's
so it was really cool. So, and it was only I think it's $29 on Amazon. And right now it's probably even cheaper because it's Amazon Prime Day.
Prime Day.
Yeah,
Send
send me that.
Just recording.
Send me that video.
Finally, what's lighting you up lately?
Lighting me up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, everything. I'm just so happy, and I love life. I'm just I'm honestly, I feel like I've waited my entire life since high school to get back to Washington. And I'm just so grateful to be home. We've always spent summers here, all throughout, even when we were in California. But now that this is our second full year here, it's I just am so connected back to the Pacific Northwest. I just love it here so, so much. And it's just I think that that's why everything is going exactly the way that I feel like it's supposed to, with meeting different people and living in Edmonds. And it's just all fallen into place. So yeah, just my life is lighting me up.
I love that. How can people find you?
Oh my God. Hey, Instagram at youngmarketingllc.com. Well, not .com.
You
LLC.
can't see this, but she just snapped.
I did. Yeah, at Young Marketing LLC. Follow me on Instagram and follow Visit Edmonds and Chamber of Commerce and Workhorse and Winville Wine District. I can keep going. We'll stop there.
Yeah, she'll share all her things to her story too. And
Totally.
website might come someday. We'll talk about that.
Yes, I know. It's just I did my business a little backwards. I had clients before a business license. I had a business before a website. So it'll get there.
Now I'm snapping.
Thank you so much for being here today, Gillian. I so enjoyed talking to you, and I can't wait to see you and hang out with you soon.
Oh my gosh, so soon. Love you both. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy. This is like bucket list. Check.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Coast. We will see you next time.
Bye.